Chapter 1. Into the Backrooms, the original novel. Prologue. Okay guys, I think we'll get a wide shot and then wrap it up. The lead friend who was directing our movie announced to the group. I nodded and took a couple of steps back, adjusting the angle of the camera to capture a better wide shot of the large cargo crate we were filming in front of. The sizable metal shipping canister gradually shrank as I backed up a few feet, attempting to capture a wider shot for our action movie. "A little further, cameraman," he said as he motioned for me to take a couple more steps back, using hand signals to guide me. I nodded in response and began walking backwards again. The gravel scattered on the concrete platform used for holding shipping cargo, crunching beneath my feet as I aimed for the perfect shot. I did my best to maintain stability and avoid shaking the camera, but the uneven ground with its grooves and dips made it increasingly challenging. As I walked, my focus shifted between the small screen on the camera checking the shot and the ground beneath me. Suddenly, my left foot got caught in my shoelaces, throwing off my balance. I stumbled backwards, my body unable to regain stability on the rigid ground. The cuffs of my blue jeans got scuffed under my heel, restricting my movement and exasperating the fall. Shocked, I tightened my grip on the camera's handle, desperately trying to protect the valuable equipment. In those brief seconds, I made eye contact with my best friend before my right elbow crashed into the concrete platform with a crunch. The rest of my body swiftly followed, the impact sending a sharp, burning pain through my right side. The back of my head also struck the concrete, causing excruciating pain and leaving my hair soaked in fresh blood. A loud ringing noise filled my ears as my vision flickered in and out. Before I could react further, my consciousness waned, and darkness enveloped me. The last thing I saw was my friends rushing over to me, their faces filled with concern after witnessing my brutal fall. I managed a weak smile before reality slipped away and everything went dark. The last thing I felt was my body making contact with the shipyard floor before it phased through reality and entered a new one. For a split second, I was inside of a black void. Barely conscious as my body drifted through the empty, shadowy landscape. For a moment, I was in a space of nothingness, a vacant, empty sea of ethereal darkness. I felt nothing, saw nothing. I didn't even remember my name at that moment. It felt like every thought and memory I had was being torn from my very being. Before I could even begin to comprehend my current state, I was gone. It all went black with the growing buzz of fluorescent tube lights subtly draining my senses from the other side. I had officially no-clipped out of my reality, and where I was a completely new mystery waiting to be solved. I groaned in pain as my senses gradually returned. The pungent stench of mildew and damp carpet filled my nostrils as I began to take in my surroundings. A sickening feeling bubbled forth in my stomach as I realized I was laying on the moist, debris-filled carpet that I was smelling. The wetness clung to my hands and face, adding to the discomfort. Where am I? I mumbled, slowly opening my eyes. Each blink dislodged fragments of the crusty buildup that had accumulated on my eyelashes while I was unconscious. My vision remained blurry, and it pained me to keep my eyes open due to the crusty residue causing irritation. The front of my jeans were soaked, and I still couldn't ignore the fact that the carpet beneath me was damp and squishy, permeating my clothes and skin over time. The pervasive odor of mildew and decay filled the air, intensified by the moist carpet. I glanced at the camera in my hands and noticed that it was still recording, its lens unscathed after the scuffle it had with the shipyard's concrete. Squinting at the viewfinder, I observed a scene that resembled a 1980s-style office hallway, with numerous rooms stretching on endlessly. The pale yellow walls seemed to extend for miles, all adorned with the same arrow-patterned wallpaper. Rectangular white lights lined the ceiling, reminiscent of those found in school hallways or old hospitals. Then it hit me. The constant hum of fluorescent lights invaded my consciousness, filling my mind with its relentless buzzing. It was merciless. I had only been conscious in this place for a few minutes, yet the incessant noise was already gnawing at my sanity. Gripping the camera tightly with my right hand, I slowly rose to my feet. My legs burned as my muscles reawakened, having been tense and still for an indeterminable amount of time. I rubbed my eyes to remove the last remnants of crust, allowing my vision to clear. As the blurriness subsided, I realized that the footage on the camera had not deceived me. I was indeed surrounded by pale yellow walls, each adorned with a peculiar upward arrow pattern. The seemingly endless hallway stretched far beyond my sight. Overhead, rectangular white fluorescent lights lined the ceiling, with occasional flickers interrupting the steady illumination. The fuck is this? I grumbled with buried paranoia. I didn't know where I was. Not only that, but my own voice sounded unnatural and foreign to me. I hated it. Hello? I cried, desperately hoping for a response. Silence greeted my call, amplifying the growing fears lurking within me. A sudden dryness formed in my mouth and then a sharp soreness at the back of my throat. The absence of water set me on a path of worsening dehydration. The relentless buzzing of the fluorescent lights intensified, drilling into my brain like a raging jackhammer. The extra prevailing silence surrounding me felt suffocating. Summoning courage, I took a cautious step forward, only to gag as my gym shoes sunk into the moist carpet. The repulsive texture just beneath my feet renewed the sickening sensation in my stomach, overwhelming my senses. I need to escape from here. I have to find something. Otherwise, I'll just lose my mind. I'll go completely insane, I said aloud to myself, the urgency in my voice rising. With determination, I started speed walking down the seemingly endless hallway in front of me. However, my legs soon grew weary and sore from the rapid movement, forcing me to gradually come to a halt. When I turned around, expecting to see the room I had come from, it was nowhere to be found. Feelings of uneasiness crashed over me in waves as I tightened my grip on the camera, my gaze darting nervously around my current surroundings. What? I'm already lost, I choked out, panic seeping into my voice. How am I already lost? I said with a fearful tone. My eyes darted around frantically, desperately searching for any signs or clues. I spun around in a full 360-degree circle, only to be met with an overwhelming sight. Endless hallways branching off into the distance, stretching infinitely as far as my eyes could see. A sense of disorientating hopelessness washed over me, leaving me feeling trapped in this enigmatic place. I need to find a way out. How do I escape? I said hoarsely, my voice laced with desperation. Without further hesitation, I broke into a run. The pale yellow walls blurred into a mix of yellow and white streaks as I sprinted through the winding corridors with all my might. The incessant buzz of the dim white lights overhead seemed to dig deeper into my mind, amplifying the noise to an unbearable level within my head. I'm gonna go insane. Let me out! I cried as I turned around and began to run back in the direction I came from. Let me out! I screamed as I turned around and began running down the hallway to my left. The realization that there were no complete dead ends in this place slammed into my thoughts like a freight train. Let me out! Let me the fuck out! I screamed as loudly as I could. I slowly stumbled forwards, came to a stop in the middle of the empty corridor. I choked back tears as my throat felt like it was closing up. I took a deep breath in and looked around. Let me out, please, I said sadly as I collapsed against the wall and sank to the floor. Tears filled my eyes as I looked down the hallway that stretched endlessly on from both left and right. The corridors never end, I thought to myself as I realized that I wasn't in the hallway I was just in. The rooms were constantly changing themselves. I was never going to escape unless I adapted and learned how to survive in here. What is this place? Where the hell is everybody? What if I never get out? Why am I here? How did I get here? Is this in prison? Am I in danger? I asked in a rush panic as hundreds more questions bounced around in my head. I looked at the camera in my hands to realize it was still rolling. The footage, I said as a glimmer of hope sprung forward in my mind. I wound back the tape only to see that it had abruptly stopped when I fell and started up again when I woke up here. What? How did... I stammered as I realized there was no explanation to how I got here and what this place was. I just knew that I fell while shooting the movie with my friends and then I was here. There were no answers available to me right now, and there very well might never be. There has to be a way out. This isn't possible. I have to be dreaming. Yeah, I hit my head when I fell and I'm dreaming. In the hospital or something, and I'm just in a state of hallucinogenical. Fuck, what am I saying? I said to myself as I slowly got to my feet. So I just have to wake up, right? I said slowly as I stared at the wall in front of me. You never die in a dream, so what if I just died and was forced to wake up? Is that even possible? I guess it could be, I said to myself as I prepared for what I was about to do next. So maybe if I hit the wall hard enough, I'll die and wake up, I said as I gripped the camera in my right hand and took a couple steps back. Well, fuck all. Here goes nothing, I said nervously as I ran at the wall as fast as I could. I hit the wall with a sickening crack and almost instantly pain exploded down my arm as my right shoulder connected with the wall at full force. I groaned in pain and stumbled back, barely holding the camera in my hands. Again, I said slowly as I ran at the wall a second time without thinking about the possible consequences. I hit the wall with a thud, my body bouncing off the solid surface like a basketball going off the backboard. My head spun as I stumbled back and fell onto the carpet with a dampened thud. The camera fell from my hands as my body grew weak. At that moment I realized I was not in fact dreaming. Or at least I couldn't wake myself up. No more. It's not working, I said weakly as I struggled to get up. My whole right side burned with pain as I slowly got to my feet. I leaned down and picked up the camera, trying to stay on my feet as waves of pain and fatigue crashed over me. I began to slowly walk down the hallway, my shoulder flaring with pain as my head spun. There has to be a way out. I mean, I can't be trapped here forever, right? I don't want to be, I whispered as I slowly came to a stop. My body felt weaker than before, and I looked at my stomach to realize I was starving. I need food, I said weakly as I slowly stumbled down the hallway, hoping to find a room or a help desk or something, anything. Hello, is anyone there? Anyone here, please? I need help. Someone. Please. I trailed off as the feeling of dread sank in, sadness and loneliness filling my thoughts. I'm alone, I whispered to myself as I turned to the right and looked down the hallway in front of me. I shivered as chills went through my entire body. Fidgeted with the camera's handle with my thumb as I held the grip attachment lightly. I looked around nervously as goosebumps began to creep up my arms and legs. Hello, is someone there, please? Can anyone hear me? I cried out as I stared hopelessly down the empty, endless corridors. I gasped as I heard a faint whistle in the distance. A person? I said to myself as I began to quickly make my way towards the sound. The lights buzzed in the background and I thought nothing of it at this point. Just wanted out. Hello, if you're there, whistle again! I cried, no answer. Did you hear me? I screamed, no response. The feelings of dread quickly returned as I realized they weren't going to answer me. I can still follow the whistle, I said to myself as I attempted to hold on to the little hope of escape I had left. I began to walk down the hallway again, following where I last heard the whistle. I turned left and realized I was back where I was 5 minutes ago. Panic began to set in as I realized I'd made a full circle. How? I was going straight. How did I even... Why? What did I do? Let me out! I screamed as I ran down the hallway, rage and upsetment flaring deep inside of me. I looked around and screamed as loud as I could. Let me out! I know you're there! Let me out! Why am I here? What did I do to you? Tears welled up in my eyes as I ran to every doorway and looked inside, hoping someone heard me. Nothing. No one. The lights flickered as I slowly made my way to the closest wall and sank to the floor. I'm never getting out of here, am I? I'm stuck in this place forever. I'll die soon because of starvation or exhaustion. I'm too weak to carry on. I don't even know where I am. I have nothing. I'm alone, and I need answers, okay? I said to myself sadly as I trailed off. Millions of thoughts and realizations sunk into my mind as I realized the constant humming noise had diminished in volume. The lights flickered and buzzed unevenly. What the hell? I said slowly as I got back to my feet. My leg muscles burned with pain from the large amounts of movement and lack of nourishment. Chills spread through my entire body almost instantly as the feeling that I wasn't safe nor alone anymore reached my sixth sense. Is someone there? I called out, secretly hoping that this time I wouldn't get an answer. Silence. Hello? I was cut off by a loud scream from behind. I wouldn't get an answer this time. The answer had found me. Chills shot up my spine as the blood-curdling shriek blew out my eardrums. I turned around as adrenaline instantly entered my bloodstream. I had laid eyes on a terrifying creature running right at me. What the fuck is... I barely had time to ask questions as the creature quickly closed the gap between itself and its prey. Closer. I turned around and began to run as fast as I could. The lights flickered frantically above me as I sprinted down multiple hallways, turning at corners whenever I could. The screams grew even louder as I looked behind me, only to see the creature was quickly gaining. The thing was made out of black wires and rods, like something you'd see on a tripod stand. Its head looked like a security camera and video camera had merged together, a large hole lined with sharp metal spikes in the front. Is that its mouth? I thought as I ran faster. The creature screamed loudly behind me as I made the sharp turn around the corner. My body grew weak as hunger set in, weakening my muscles and draining my stamina. The walls became a yellow blur as I ran as fast as I could. Always endless! I cried as I struggled to breathe. My lungs burned as I began to slow down. The The lights flickered and then became normal again as the screams slowly stopped. I slowly sprinted forwards before falling to the ground, gasping for air. What the fuck was that thing? I cried as I looked behind me. The monster was gone. I looked at the camera in my hands and shuddered as I realized that thing had chased me for well over 15 minutes. It was persistent in its attacks. Why is that thing here? I said slowly as I tried to take in as much air as I could. My lungs burned and I cried out in pain as a sharp stabbing feeling pierced my chest. I slowed my breathing and tried not to pass out. My entire body felt weak. I can't keep doing this. I'm starving. Exhausted. I'll die, I said between breaths. The constant buzz slowly returned as the lights went back to normal they were when I got here. My vision slowly faded in and out as I struggled to keep my consciousness. I can't, I said slowly before everything went black. So that was actually the end of chapter 1. There's 93 chapters in this novel, and I'm happy to read all of them. I will get better at reading as time goes on. And chapter 2 is the next part of chapter 1, and essentially just leave a like and a comment on this video, and I'll probably release a part 2 with chapter 2 until we get to chapter 93. There is actually a second book in the works right now with 110 planned chapters. 52 of them are finished. There's about 150 chapters that I can read to you right now. So if you enjoyed, please make sure to subscribe. Leave a comment down below saying what I can improve, what I can do to fix this. And just essentially, if you want to stick around and hear more of this book, please consider liking the video and following for more information on the videos. I will post almost weekly, and eventually I'll become daily. It takes about an hour to record and create the audio for each of these videos the best I can, and upload them to YouTube. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to just show some support, whether that's by leaving a comment, a like, sharing this with a friend, and just telling me what I can do better. Now, this is actually the end of the teaser trailer. This is chapter 1, and if this video does good, then I will release more chapters along the way. I love all of you who are possibly coming to subscribe or have already subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.